Hello students, welcome to the next class. In this particular session, we are going to look on some problems based on the user-defined functions. So as you already know, we have discussed in our class lectures that there are only four types of functions in all kind of languages. First, without, without return type, without return type, and without without arguments. Second is without return type and with arguments. Third is with return type and without arguments. And fourth is with return type and with arguments. So there are all four types of functions in every programming languages. These are the types of the functions. Now what is the meaning of return type and what is the meaning of arguments over here? So in any kind of functions, first how you define a function means in function definition you need to name a particular function. There are three things, that is function prototype, function calling, and function definition. Function prototype has to be a function declaration where you are declaring a function that there is this function in this program. Second is function calling, that means you are calling that particular user defined function from another function, that is function calling. And third is the called function, that is the function you're calling, that is where you have written the instructions, the lines of codes for that particular function, that is known as function definition. So the function definition starts with syntax is just like it. First, the return type. Return type is basically a data type. Second is function name, and last inside parenthesis arguments or no arguments. If there are no arguments, then this parenthesis will be empty, and if there are or there is any kind of argument, then this parenthesis needs to be filled with that particular variable along with the data type. Okay, so let's suppose function is returning an integer value after the successfully running of this user defined function. It is returning a integer value, so the return type will be a data type int. Let's say function name is sum, and it is taking no arguments, so it will be like this. So now let's make a program to check whether a number is prime number or not using a user defined function. So let's say firstly we need to include stdio.h. After this, in main function void main, let's say we are passing argument as well as a function is returning something also. So now the prime number function will work to check the number only, whether that number is prime number or not. It will not read the number from the user. That means you need to read the number from the user inside the main function only, and then you pass that number to the user defined function. So let's say int num, give an indentation. So let's say int num is the number you are reading from the user. Int num, let's take a flag variable, let's make it 0, and that's it. Now you print a message onto the user screen that enter a number to check, \n for the next line, and you'll read that number and store it using scanf. %d is the format specified for integer, and address of num and the variable num. Now the number is in the variable num. Now what you have to do is you need to call a function that is checking whether that number is prime number or not. and you need to pass this variable in that function. So let's say we have declared a function that returns an integer value int, and let's say is prime is the name of function, and we are passing an integer value that is a number we need to check. So int, we have declared this. This is called function declaration or function prototype. This line is known as function declaration or function prototype. Okay, so now what we have to do is we simply need to call that function. Let's say we're calling a function is prime is a function name, is prime, and we are passing a num, that is num variable. And after this what we have to do is, let's say we have stopped making this main function over here. We'll come back to this later. Now we need to go back to our function. Now we'll define the function. That means we need to write function definition. We need to write the logic for that function. So let's see, this is the function, that is int. Return type is int because it is returning an integer. Function name is prime, and let's say it is having an argument with a variable num, because we have passed the variable num over here. So we need to collect this variable into the same variable, or we can take another variable. It is your choice. So let's take int a. We are taking int is prime, int a. So this is the function definition. Inside function definition, we will write the logic of checking the prime number. So how we'll check a prime number? Let's say int I equals to 0. We are initializing I with 0 for iteration of the loops. Next, you can also take, you need not to initialize it because we will initialize it in the loop also. Int I. Second is we are taking a count variable, count equals to 0. That's it. Now what we have to do is simply we'll write the code to check whether number is prime number or not. So how we'll do that? Simply we need to run a loop for I equals to 1 up till I is less than equal to a, not num, because we have collected this num variable into the variable a. So now we'll use a instead of num. At every iteration I will increase by 1. Inside this, what we have to do is simply we need to check if a modulus I equals to 0. That means I is starting from 1 and a prime number is that number which is perfectly divided by 1 and itself. So if a modulus I equals to 0, that means count plus plus. Simply we are increasing count variable by 1. So if a number is a prime number, count will be exactly equal to 2 because it will be divided by 1 and it will also be divided by itself. None other number will divide it. So the prime number is only divided 2 times, by 1 and by itself. So count plus plus. Now after this what we have to do is we simply need to check if count equals to 2. If count equals to, that means the number was a prime number. That means return 1. And if the number is not equal to, if the count is not equal to 2, that means in the else part what we have to do is return 0. Now this function is over. Now come back to the main function. Now we are collecting this return value because this function is returning something, and now we are collecting this returned value into a variable, that is flag. So flag equals to is prime num. So whatever the function is returning, we are collecting that value in a variable of our choice. In this case, the flag is the variable. Now again we are checking if flag equals to 1. That means 1 was returned when the number was prime. So if flag equals to 1, simply we are printing using printf, the number is prime number. So the number is prime number. In the else part, what we are doing is simply printing printf the number is not a prime number. Simple. The number is not a prime number, and we are closing this section of else, and we are closing the main function as well. So now we are ready with our code. Let's save it and let's run it. Go to the files, save it at the location and open that location where you have saved it, and click on these three dots, open in terminal. Now the file name is fnp.c, so gcc fnp.c -o and fn, let's say the executable file's name. Hit enter. Okay, something is missing in line number 20. It was extra bracket, so I have removed that extra curly braces. Okay, so go back to the files, open in terminal again, run the command. GCC file name is fnp.c -o and fn is the executable file's name. Now again hit enter, / executable file's name is fn. Hit enter, enter number to check. Let's say we are first we are inputting a number that is a prime number. Let's say 17 is a prime number, we know. Let's hit enter. The number is a prime number, you can see. Again we'll run it, enter a number to check. This time we are entering 10, that is not a prime number, so the result will be the number is not a prime number. The number is not a prime number, exactly. Now we are entering a prime number, that is 2. Let's see what the result we can get. 2 is a prime number, remember, 2 is a prime number. The number is a prime number. So that's it. That's how you check the number is a prime number or not, using the function, using a user defined function. Okay, so one more thing you need to understand is there is no compulsion that you are required to write the function definition after the main function. You can write before the main function as well. That means you can write main function. Let's have a look at it also, so there are no confusion. Control X and downshift the main function, and you can paste the function that is user defined function over this. So but remember, when you are declaring a function, it has to be a global. That means this should not be inside the main function. Okay, so let's run it again, save it, go to the files, open in terminal. So command is gcc file name is fnp.c -o and fn /fn. Hit enter, number is 23 this time, so the number is prime number. Okay, so what happens is the main function is automatically called by the operating system. The main function is automatically called by the operating system. So no matter where you write the main function, does not matter if there are 10 user defined functions above the main function, it does not matters. So wherever you write the main function, it will be run automatically by the operating system, because main function is directly called by the operating system, and you're calling is prime function from the main function. So first the main function will run, and second, after this, it will call is prime function, then it will run, and again it comes to the main function, and the main function will continue its execution. So this is how you make the program. Okay, so this is enough for today. We'll take some more example on the functions in our subsequent classes. So thank you very much.